where most people are black. There is a region of the world where the church is growing exponentially. There is a region of the world where people equate success with power and authority. There is a region of the world where even those who are black despise those who are darker than them. There is a region of the world where, although the church is growing, many of the members still keep some non-biblical worldview behind their explicit beliefs. What place am I talking about? I'm describing the Caribbean. This is where I come from. In my conversations, in my reading about Africa, I have come to the conclusion that many of the issues that we have in the Caribbean are also present in the African continent. So I am presenting my perspective as an outsider about what I believe are some key issues, some pressing issues in the African context that are not unique to Africa. I am a Latino, and I'm very proud of my culture and my language. However, I'm not any kind of Latino. I am a Caribbean. And Caribbean is a very strange kind of Latino because we are a mixture of bloods. We have the indigenous blood of the native. We have the African blood of the slave that were brought when the native had been killed. And we have also part of the European blood of the conquerors. During my time in IAS, I have felt loved by Africans. And during the time I spent in Egypt, I was a grade 5 teacher and grade 7 teacher for a school of refugees. If you can see the picture of some of my students. This school had mainly South Sudanese students, but also some Ethiopians, Nigerians, Rwandese, and Kenyans students. So as I interacted with my students and my fellow professors, teachers, all of them were Africans, I learned a lot about the issues of Africa. Having said that, let me read the introduction. The Seventh-day Adventist Church has experienced an outstanding growth in sub-Saharan Africa in terms of membership, number of institutions, and influence in the public arena. However, Seventh-day Adventists are not immune to the challenges that other Africans face on a regular basis, such as inter-ethnic tensions, struggle for power, and the influence of the traditional belief in the spirit world. This paper provides the perspective of an outsider who appreciates African culture and people about the role of education in the shaping of the new generation of Adventist believers in the face of the need to live biblically with the three above mentioned contemporary issues that affect most African nations. The presenter suggests that the church leaders and educators at all levels have a key role to play, not only in the shaping of the explicit beliefs and behavior of people, but also the transformation of the underlying worldview, which is ultimately responsible for what people actually think and practice. So I propose to do this by following a very simple outline. First, I will describe the problem. Second, I will say what I believe is the root or cause of the problem. And finally, I will suggest some guidelines and suggestions. Let me give you some examples. If you were to ask me to provide bibliographical evidence for what I'm going to say, I may not be able to show it to you. However, from what I have heard from some of you here, what I have heard from some of my African friends living in Egypt, and from what I have heard from some missionaries who had worked in Egypt, in Africa, I believe that some issues are very pressing, however, they are not dealt with explicitly. There's an Asian professor whom I interviewed about 2 or 3 years ago. He spent 6 years working in an African institution. He told me how beautiful his experience was. I asked him, did you have any challenge? What is your main challenge? And this is what he told me. One of my biggest challenges was trying to understand the tribal conflicts and tensions in my place. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I tried to help students to get sponsorship from students, and one day one of the administrators approached me to complain. We have a problem with you. He was wondering what the problem could be. And he asked, so what have I done wrong? He said, we have noticed that you have been finding a scholarship for some students, but you are never considering students from our tribes. He said, I'm sorry, I don't understand. For me, all of you are Africans. He was confused. An European teacher, who was my teacher at the undergraduate level, he spent 4 or 5 years working in Rwanda. She told me how frequently she heard students and even some professors making jokes about going in the night to kill some people from the other tribes. While working in this school in Egypt, we were constantly being attacked by Egyptian gangs. Students, when they left their school, Egyptian students, they would come to throw stones out our school. Even one day our school was attacked by a gang of other Sudanese belonging to tribes that were not represented in the school. You know, I like to search for non-Adventist publications, and I always have this habit to look for Adventist name in the books that are not Adventist, and I like to feel happy when I see the Adventist name. One of these days I was searching for the Cambridge History of Christianity, and I was searching Adventist, and I found Adventist. I was pretty happy. However, what I read broke my heart. This is what I found. However, growth for many administrators and pastors means to have people who have been baptized. Seventh-day Adventists have a tendency to emphasize head knowledge. This is not a new situation. That means that when someone explicitly says, I believe in this and that and that and that, and also when a person externally made some changes in his or her lifestyle, we believe he has become an Adventist. However, there is what Filipino scholar Jem Bulatao called split-level Christianity, where people in their explicit belief, they say something, but their worldview throughout the week shows that they have a different kind of mindset. All cultures and religions consist of 3 main embracing interaction dimensions, according to Paul Hibbert: cognitive, affective, and evaluative. The fulfillment of the Great Commission should seek to transform all dimensions of life. Together, these 3 dimensions provide people with a way of looking at the world that makes sense out of it, that gives them a feeling of being at home. Early in the Adventist history, the intellectual approach to religion has been the main tendency among Adventist preachers. At time we'll have to skip. The Adventist missionaries had been influenced by the Western mindset, where much emphasis is given to the intellectual knowledge. Churches in the West face another danger. They are deeply influenced by engineering mentality of the world and believe that if they know what things work and do the right things, they can control the future and uncover the past. Consequently, planning, budgeting, measuring, evaluating, and replanning often constitute the heart of church business meetings. The same can be said of many Western Christians who believe that can control their life with science. I skip. So some people think the only thing we need to do in order to solve this problem is to provide more information. Let us write more books, let us present more seminars, let us have more initiative, and the problems will be solved. However, focusing on the information is not enough. Max Weber, Clifford Geertz, and others argue that belief gives rise to behavior, a position most evangelicals take with the emphasis on preaching and teaching. They assume that when people's beliefs are right, they will behave properly. However, some studies show that the correlation between beliefs and behavior is very low. People who score low in tests of racism often show the most racist behavior in life. This may be because written exams test explicit beliefs and do not take into account unconscious belief and worldviews. In other words, it is not enough to have beautiful mission statements in our school, or we say, in this school, everybody is the same. There is this saying that this school, everybody is equal. But when we see the behavior of teachers and administrators, we soon discover that although everybody is equal, some people seem to be more equal than others. Just recently, I had this interesting experience at home. We had a guest for lunch. And I asked my daughter, please help me to prepare the house. We had Pastor Juan Prestol, the GC treasurer, a fellow Dominican, with us. So we're preparing the house. And my daughter told me, Daddy, why are we cleaning the house so much? And I said, because we have a guest. And she answered, but we always have guests, and you don't clean that much before. I could tell her that for me, all guests are the same. But she can see there is a difference, not in what I say, but my behavior. Time is over. So we approach these issues through integration of learning and learning. We also present documents, like the book that the church wrote recently about the spiritual issues in Africa. However, we discovered that addressing formally these issues is not enough. What do we need? Time is running. This is what we need. Gary Land said that integration of faith and learning is not enough. No matter how extensively we understand the biblical philosophy of history, in this case, as a history teacher, he said, if we do not also live as Christians in the relationship to students, we will not fulfill our larger obligation, meaning our students, the new generation of Adventists in Africa and the world, they don't need so much new statements about all of us being equal. More than that, they need to see in us a different kind of style and leadership. I have to skip more and more. In many traditional societies, the dominant emotion is fear. Fear of ancestors, arbitrary spirits, hostile enemies, witchcraft, magic, and so on, so on, so. In this context, we cannot insist on adopting the traditional approach of emphasizing doctrinal correctness only. In this place, we need to present Christ as Christus Victor, the view of salvation in which Christ is the conqueror of evil and the restorer of shalom. It does not negate the substitutionary or moral views of salvation, but does lead to a more dynamic view of faith. Now, I want to finish by quoting two statements. I hope I will have more time in the answer quick section. Ellen White wrote, "Our ideas of education take too narrow and too low a range. There is need of a broader scope, a higher aim. True education means more than the pursuit of a certain course of study. It means more than a preparation for the life that now is. It has to do with the whole being and with the whole period of existence possible to man. It is the harmonious development of the physical, the mental and the spiritual powers. It prepares a student for the job of service in this world and for the higher job of wider service in the world to come. Now, where could we get this kind of education? We need a different kind of teachers. Edward Mackenzie Barnes wrote over a century ago what follows. We are constantly on a stretch, if not on a strain, to devise new methods, new plans, new organizations to advance the church and secure enlargement of the efficiency of the gospel. This trend of the day has a tendency to lose sight of the man or sink the man into the plan or organization. God's plan is to make much of the man, far more of him than of anything else. Men are God's method. The church is looking for better methods, but God is looking for better men. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pastor Vargas, for this interesting presentation. Do we have questions? May I see the hands so we can entertain the questions?